Okay, so today I have a manga I'd like to talk about. It's called Onwards Towards Our Noble Deaths by Shigeru Mizuki. Mizuki is another one of those manga artists who was alive when Japan was fighting World War II. A lot of these manga artists were used those experiences to kind of cultivate what they would write in the future. A lot of them were civilians that were having to deal with the bureaucracy, the rationing of food and clothes, and things like that, the general horribleness that happened in Japan immediately after they surrendered. Some of them were actually reservists. Some of them saw a little bit of combat, or maybe they were in combat areas, but were not really that much into the combat themselves. Mizuki is a little bit different in that he was in the thick of it. He was born in 1922, so he was old enough to serve in the Japanese army, which he did. He was in what we call Papua New Guinea in 1943, where he got malaria, which is not a fun disease from what I understand. And in the book, you also understand how horrible it is. Not only that, he kind of knows what he's talking about in Onwards Towards Our Noble Deaths, which is basically a fictionalized sort of retelling of what happened to him in his tour on Papua New Guinea, where he lost his arm in combat. That's right, he lost his arm. When he did this book, or when he did this serialized kind of comic, he was doing it with one arm. It was published, I believe, in 1973, and again, it has a unusual style. It's not your typical manga with the big eyes and, just like really quick, hey, here's this thing that's happening, we're going to take 5 pages to explain it and the story's done. No, this whole book is about that one experience on the island where he lands with his unit to the end of the campaign. It is a funny book. It can be funny, I should say. It also it shows a lot about the stereotypes that you think about the Japanese army, but it also shows other aspects of army life, which you don't really get a lot of in a lot of these kinds of books. And the drawing style is a lot different. Like I said, it's not the big eye type of deal. It's actually very detailed landscape drawings, very detailed when you see Americans attack the Japanese. See, that's another unusual thing. You don't get that a lot in a lot of these manga, from manga artists from this time period. They don't really show the Americans attacking. He shows the Americans attacking. He puts into detail B-17 bombers. He puts into detail, beautiful detail of mountainscapes, plains, the jungles of Papua New Guinea. And it's actually really beautiful. But what's funny is that when he draws the actual Japanese soldiers, it's in a crude fashion. So here you have this crudeness of the Japanese soldier superimposed upon the beautiful landscape behind them. Now, obviously it's war, so you're talking about death, you're talking about combat, you're talking about the horribleness of it all. And that's kind of what makes this a moving book. It's also a sentimentality that a lot of manga artists from that time period have, which is basically, yeah, this was war, yeah, we supported our country, yeah, it was the honorable thing to do. War is not a good thing. This book further emphasizes that. I'm going to show a little video after this one where basically I took pictures of this book, and just to kind of give you an idea of how it's different than some of the manga that we read today. But because it's a library book, I can't do what I normally do, which is buy 2 copies, slice 1 copy up so I can actually do a proper, putting it onto the computer and making a really good image of it. So if it seems a little sloppy, I apologize ahead of time. But my overall thought on this is that if you want to read, it's kind of like Grave of the Fireflies. If you want to read something or experience something that's a little bit different than what the norm is, I would definitely check this book out. You can probably find it at your library. It's a little bit hard to find in bookstores. You might have to order it online, but try your local library first, because that's where I found this. So, and this is kind of what it looks like. All right, so you get an idea of what it looks like. Check it out, and hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. It's a really good read.